This is killing your progress, and I need you to understand something right now before you close this video and walk away from what could be the breakthrough you've been desperately searching for. I'm sitting here at 3 in the morning, my coffee cold, my eyes burning from staring at screens for the past 18 hours, and I'm about to tell you something that's going to change everything you think you know about making money online. See, 18 months ago, I was exactly where you are right now, frustrated, broke, convinced that everyone else had some secret formula that I just couldn't crack. I'd spent $4,732 on courses, masterclasses, and coaching programs that promised me the world and delivered nothing but empty promises and recycled strategies that worked for someone else in a completely different situation. The truth is, you're probably closer to profitability than you realize, but there's one massive blind spot that's keeping you stuck. And it's not what any guru is going to tell you because they're all selling you the same broken dream. They want you to believe that success is about finding the perfect niche, the perfect product, the perfect marketing strategy, but that's complete garbage. I learned this the hard way when I lost my savings, my relationship, and almost my sanity, chasing someone else's definition of online success. My girlfriend Sarah moved out on a Tuesday morning in November, taking her coffee maker and leaving behind a note that said she couldn't watch me destroy myself anymore. That note is still in my wallet because it reminds me of the moment I realized I was doing everything wrong. You see, I thought I needed to be like Marcus, this guy in my Facebook group who was posting screenshots of his 5-figure months selling digital marketing courses. I thought I needed to copy his sales funnels, his email sequences, his Instagram content strategy. I spent 3 months creating an exact replica of his business model, investing another $2,000 in ads, convinced that I'd cracked the code. The result? 12 sales. Total revenue, $420. I was hemorrhaging money faster than a broken dam, and I couldn't understand why his exact system wasn't working for me. The answer was staring me in the face, but I was too blind to see it. Marcus had something I didn't have, and it wasn't his sales funnel, or his email templates, or his Instagram aesthetic. What Marcus had was alignment. His business was built around his actual strengths, his real experience, his genuine passion, and most importantly, his natural way of communicating. I was trying to be Marcus instead of being the best version of myself, and that misalignment was like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. Every piece of content I created felt forced. Every sales conversation felt awkward. Every marketing campaign felt like I was wearing someone else's clothes that didn't fit. The market could sense my inauthenticity from a mile away, and it was rejecting everything I put out there. This is probably what's happening to you right now, and you don't even realize it. I remember the exact moment everything changed. It was December 15th, 2:30 in the afternoon, and I was sitting in my car outside a Starbucks, crying like a child because I'd just gotten off a call with my mentor, who told me I needed to stop trying to be someone else and start leveraging my actual strengths. I'd been a software engineer for 6 years before trying to become an online entrepreneur. I understood systems, automation, data analysis, and problem-solving in ways that most marketers never would. But instead of building a business around those strengths, I was trying to become a lifestyle guru selling courses on mindset and manifestation because that's what seemed to be working for everyone else. That conversation forced me to confront an uncomfortable truth that I'd been avoiding for months. I was chasing someone else's version of success instead of creating my own. I was trying to fit into a mold that was never designed for me, and that misalignment was costing me everything. Money, time, relationships, self-respect, and most importantly, the opportunity to build something that could actually work. The hardest part wasn't admitting that I'd been wrong. The hardest part was accepting that I'd have to start over. But this time, I'd have to do it my way. If you're watching this video, there's a 97% chance you're making the same mistake I made. You're trying to copy someone else's business model instead of creating one that fits your unique situation, strengths, and circumstances. You're consuming content from people who built their businesses in different markets, with different audiences, at different times, and you're wondering why their strategies aren't working for you. Here's what nobody tells you about business models. They're not transferable. What works for someone else might be completely wrong for you, and that's not a failure on your part. That's just reality. Let me give you a specific example that'll blow your mind. There's a woman named Jessica who built a 7-figure business selling organizational systems to busy moms. Everyone in my mastermind was trying to copy her model, creating courses about productivity and organization. But here's what they missed. Jessica was a single mom who'd struggled with organization her entire life. Her business wasn't built on her expertise. It was built on her genuine struggle and her real solutions. When my mastermind buddies tried to copy her model, they failed because they didn't have her authentic experience. They were selling solutions to problems they'd never actually faced, and their audiences could tell. This brings me to the first truth that's going to change everything for you. Your biggest weakness is probably your greatest strength in disguise. I know that sounds like motivational poster nonsense, but stay with me because this is where it gets interesting. My inability to follow traditional marketing advice wasn't a weakness. It was my brain telling me that those strategies didn't align with who I was and how I naturally operated. Instead of fighting against my analytical nature, I leaned into it. Instead of trying to create emotional, story-driven content, I started creating data-driven, logical, system-focused content. My audience changed overnight. Within 6 weeks of making this shift, I went from struggling to get 10 views on my content to having posts that reached thousands of people organically. My email list grew from 300 subscribers to over 2,000 in 2 months. Most importantly, I started making sales that actually stuck. My refund rate dropped from 37% to less than 5% because I was finally attracting the right people with the right message. The alignment was so powerful that everything became easier. Content creation became natural. Sales conversations became consultative. Marketing became authentic. But here's where most people mess this up, and it's probably what you're doing right now. They think alignment means finding their passion or their purpose, but that's only half the equation. True alignment happens when your passion intersects with market demand and your unique capabilities. You can be passionate about something that nobody wants to buy, or you can be capable of something that doesn't excite you. The sweet spot is where all three overlap, and that's where profitability lives. I see so many entrepreneurs stuck because they're trying to monetize their hobbies instead of their professional advantages. They want to make money from their love of travel, their passion for fitness, their interest in personal development, but they ignore the fact that they have 10 years of experience in project management, or 5 years in customer service, or 3 years in social media management. Your professional experience is your competitive advantage, not your weekend hobbies. The market doesn't care about your passion. It cares about your ability to solve problems that people are willing to pay to have solved. This realization hit me like a freight train when I analyzed my first successful product launch. I'd created a course teaching other software engineers how to transition into entrepreneurship without burning bridges or taking massive financial risks. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't trendy. It wasn't what the gurus were teaching, but it was exactly what my audience needed. And it was something only I could deliver with authentic authority. The course generated $47,000 in its first launch, and I knew I'd finally found my lane. The second truth that's going to accelerate your progress. Stop trying to appeal to everyone and start serving someone specific incredibly well. The riches are in the niches, but not for the reason you think. Niching down isn't about limiting your market, it's about clarifying your message. When you try to help everyone, your message becomes generic and forgettable. When you focus on helping one specific type of person solve one specific problem, your message becomes laser-focused and irresistible to exactly the right people. Here's a perfect example that illustrates this principle. There are thousands of business coaches online, all trying to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses. But there's one coach who specifically helps female photographers book more weddings through Instagram. And she makes more money than most general business coaches because her message is so specific that her ideal clients feel like she's speaking directly to them. She's not smarter than other coaches. She's not more experienced. She's just more focused, and that focus creates clarity, which creates trust, which creates sales. If you're struggling to gain traction, I guarantee it's because your message is too broad. You're trying to help too many people solve too many problems, and as a result, nobody feels like you're talking directly to them. This was my biggest mistake in the early days. I was trying to help anyone who wanted to make money online, which meant I was competing with thousands of other entrepreneurs who were saying exactly the same thing. When I shifted to specifically helping software engineers transition into entrepreneurship, I immediately stood out because there were very few people serving that specific market with that specific message. The third truth, and this one's going to save you months of frustration. Your first offer doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be helpful. I spent 8 months perfecting my first course, adding module after module, bonus after bonus, trying to create the ultimate comprehensive training program. By the time I launched it, the market had moved on, my audience had lost interest, and I'd burned myself out before making a single sale. Meanwhile, my friend David created a simple $30 PDF guide that solved one specific problem, and he made more money in his first month than I made in my first 6 months. The perfectionist trap is real, and it's keeping you broke. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect product, the perfect marketing campaign. But perfection is the enemy of progress. Your audience doesn't need perfect. They need helpful. They'd rather have a simple solution that works than a complex solution that confuses them. This doesn't mean you should deliver garbage. It means you should deliver value quickly and improve over time based on real feedback from real customers. I learned this lesson the hard way when I finally launched my simplified course on transitioning from employee to entrepreneur. Instead of the comprehensive masterpiece I'd been planning, I created a focused training that addressed the 3 biggest concerns my audience had: how to validate a business idea while working full-time, how to build initial revenue without quitting your job, and how to make the transition safely when the time was right. The course was 6 modules, 3 hours of content, and it generated more sales in its first week than my previous course generated in 3 months. The feedback from customers was incredible, because they could actually implement what I was teaching instead of feeling overwhelmed by information overload. They started getting results immediately, which led to testimonials, which led to referrals, which led to more sales. This is the compound effect of starting simple and improving over time, instead of trying to launch perfect and never getting started. Now here's something that's going to blow your mind about timing and market readiness. You think you need to wait until you're an expert before you can help other people, but that's completely backwards. The best time to teach something is when you're 1 step ahead of your audience, not 10 steps ahead. When you're too far ahead, you forget what it was like to be a beginner. You skip over important details. You assume knowledge that your audience doesn't have. You lose the ability to relate to their struggles and frustrations. Some of my most successful content comes from documenting my current challenges and sharing what I'm learning in real time. When I was struggling to scale my business beyond 6 figures, I created content about the systems and strategies I was implementing to break through that barrier. My audience connected with that content because they could see that I was facing the same challenges they were facing. I wasn't preaching from a mountaintop. I was fighting in the trenches alongside them. This brings me to a controversial truth that most entrepreneurship content completely ignores. You don't need to be making millions to help people who are making thousands, and you don't need to be making hundreds of thousands to help people who are making tens of thousands. Every level of success comes with its own unique challenges and lessons, and the person who just solved the problem you're currently facing is often the best person to teach you how to solve it. I see too many aspiring entrepreneurs waiting for permission to share their knowledge, waiting until they feel qualified enough, expert enough, successful enough. But qualification doesn't come from achieving some arbitrary level of success. It comes from having valuable experience that can help other people avoid mistakes and accelerate their progress. If you figured out how to make your first $1,000 online, there are thousands of people who would pay to learn how you did it. If you've learned how to get consistent clients, there are entrepreneurs who would invest in that knowledge. The fourth truth that changed everything for me: your current struggles are your future competitive advantages. Every challenge you're facing right now, every obstacle you're overcoming, every problem you're solving is teaching you something that you'll be able to help other people with later. But here's the key. You have to document the process. You have to pay attention to what you're learning. You have to capture the insights, strategies, and breakthroughs that are happening in your business right now. I wish I'd started documenting my journey from day one, because I lost so many valuable lessons and insights that could have become content, products, and services. I was so focused on reaching the next level that I forgot to extract value from the level I was currently navigating. Now I document everything. The strategies that work, the strategies that fail, the mindset shifts that create breakthroughs, the systems that save time, the mistakes that cost money. All of this documentation becomes the raw material for future content and offers. Here's a specific example of how this works in practice. Last year, I was struggling with email marketing. My open rates were terrible, my click-through rates were worse, and my conversion rates were basically non-existent. Instead of just trying to fix the problem privately, I documented the entire process of learning email marketing from scratch. I shared my mistakes, my experiments, my failures, and my eventual breakthroughs. That documentation became a case study that generated over $15,000 in consulting revenue because other entrepreneurs were facing the exact same challenges. Your current struggles are market research happening in real time. The problems you're solving, the questions you're asking, the resources you're searching for, are exactly what your future audience will need. Instead of seeing your challenges as setbacks, start seeing them as content opportunities. Instead of hiding your mistakes, start sharing your lessons. Instead of waiting until you've figured everything out, start teaching what you're learning along the way. This mindset shift is absolutely crucial because it transforms every experience into an asset. Nothing is wasted. Every failure becomes a case study. Every breakthrough becomes a teaching moment. Every challenge becomes content. This perspective not only accelerates your learning, but also creates a constant stream of valuable material that resonates with your audience because it's authentic, timely, and relevant. The fifth truth, and this one's going to challenge everything you believe about scaling. Bigger isn't always better, and more isn't always the answer. I spent 2 years trying to build a massive audience, create multiple income streams, and scale as quickly as possible because that's what all the business content told me I should do. The result was burnout, confusion, and declining profits. I was making more money, but keeping less of it. I was reaching more people, but serving them worse. I was building a bigger business, but enjoying it less. The turning point came when I decided to go smaller, instead of bigger. Instead of trying to serve everyone in my market, I focused on serving my best clients incredibly well. Instead of creating 10 different products, I perfected one core offer. Instead of posting on every platform, I dominated one channel. Instead of chasing growth metrics, I optimized for profit margins. The result was counterintuitive, but undeniable. I made more money working with fewer clients, created more impact with less content, and built a more sustainable business with simpler systems. This doesn't mean you should never scale or grow, but it means you should scale intelligently rather than aggressively. Most entrepreneurs confuse activity with productivity, growth with profit, busy with effective. They're running faster and faster on a treadmill that's going nowhere because they're optimizing for the wrong metrics. Revenue doesn't matter if your profit margins are terrible. Audience size doesn't matter if your engagement is low. Product quantity doesn't matter if your quality is inconsistent. Here's a practical example that illustrates this perfectly. I know an entrepreneur who has an email list of 50,000 subscribers and makes about $8,000 per month. I know another entrepreneur who has an email list of 3,000 subscribers and makes $15,000 per month. The difference isn't luck or timing, it's focus and optimization. The first entrepreneur is trying to appeal to everyone and ends up appealing to no one. The second entrepreneur serves a specific audience incredibly well and charges premium prices for premium value. Quality beats quantity every single time, but most entrepreneurs get seduced by vanity metrics that don't actually correlate with business success. They celebrate follower counts instead of conversion rates. They focus on traffic instead of revenue. They optimize for reach instead of relationships. This backwards approach keeps them busy but broke, active but unprofitable, growing but not succeeding. The sixth truth that most business advice completely ignores: your personality is your positioning, and your unique perspective is your competitive advantage. In a world where everyone has access to the same information, the same tools, and the same strategies, what differentiates you isn't what you know. It's how you think, how you communicate, and how you approach problems. Your personality isn't something you need to hide or change to be successful. It's something you need to amplify and leverage. I used to think I needed to be more charismatic, more energetic, more motivational to succeed in the online space. I watched successful entrepreneurs who were natural performers, and I tried to copy their energy and communication style. The content I created felt fake because it wasn't authentic to who I am. I'm naturally analytical, systematic, and detail-oriented. I'm not a rah-rah motivational speaker, and trying to be one was exhausting and ineffective. When I finally embraced my natural communication style and started creating content that reflected my actual personality, everything changed. My audience grew faster because people connected with my authentic voice. My content performed better because it felt natural and genuine. My sales increased because prospects felt like they knew the real me, not some manufactured version of what I thought they wanted. Your weirdness is your wealth, but only if you're brave enough to show it. The quirks, perspectives, and approaches that make you different are exactly what will make you memorable and valuable in a crowded marketplace. Instead of trying to fit in, focus on standing out. Instead of copying what everyone else is doing, do what only you can do. Instead of hiding your personality, make it your brand. The seventh truth that's going to save you years of frustration. Systems beat goals every single time. Most entrepreneurs set ambitious goals and then hope motivation will carry them through. But motivation is unreliable and unsustainable. What creates consistent results is consistent systems that work regardless of how you feel on any given day. Goals are destinations, systems are vehicles. You can't reach your destination without a reliable vehicle. I learned this lesson during my first successful year when I generated over 6 figures in revenue. It wasn't because I was more motivated than previous years. It was because I'd built systems that automated the most important parts of my business. I had a content creation system that ensured I published valuable material consistently. I had a lead generation system that brought new prospects into my business daily. I had a sales system that converted prospects into customers predictably. These systems worked whether I felt like working or not. Building systems requires upfront investment of time and energy, which is why most entrepreneurs avoid it. They'd rather chase the next shiny strategy than build boring but reliable processes. But systems are what separate amateur entrepreneurs from professional business owners. Systems create predictability. Systems enable scaling. Systems reduce stress. Systems increase profits. Here's a specific example of how systems transformed my business. I used to spend hours every week manually responding to customer support emails, onboarding new clients, and managing my content calendar. These tasks were important but not revenue-generating, and they consumed time I could have spent on growth activities. I invested 2 weeks building systems that automated most of these processes, and it freed up 12 hours per week that I could reinvest into high-value activities like product development and strategic partnerships. The eighth truth that will accelerate your progress faster than any strategy. Focus on speed of implementation over perfection of planning. Most entrepreneurs get stuck in planning mode, researching every possible option, analyzing every potential outcome, trying to predict every possible challenge before they take action. This analysis paralysis keeps them safe, but stuck. While they're planning the perfect strategy, their competitors are implementing imperfect strategies and getting real market feedback. I used to be the king of overplanning. I'd spend weeks researching the best email marketing platform, the perfect course creation tool, the optimal pricing strategy. I'd create detailed business plans, elaborate content calendars, complex sales funnels. But all that planning was just sophisticated procrastination. I was avoiding the discomfort of putting my work into the world because planning felt productive without requiring vulnerability. The breakthrough came when I started implementing first and optimizing later. Instead of spending 3 weeks researching email platforms, I picked one that met my basic needs and started building my list immediately. Instead of planning the perfect course, I created a simple version and improved it based on student feedback. Instead of designing the ideal sales funnel, I started with a basic 1-page offer and refined it based on conversion data. This approach accelerated my progress exponentially because I was getting real feedback from real customers instead of theoretical feedback from imaginary scenarios. The market taught me what worked faster than any amount of research ever could. Implementation creates data. Data creates insights. Insights create optimization. Optimization creates results. Speed of implementation doesn't mean being reckless or careless. It means being willing to start before you feel completely ready. It means choosing action over analysis when you have enough information to make a reasonable decision. It means accepting that you'll make mistakes and viewing those mistakes as tuition for the education you're getting. The ninth truth that most entrepreneurs learn too late: your first customers are more valuable than your first revenue. Most entrepreneurs focus on making money as quickly as possible. But smart entrepreneurs focus on finding customers who love what they do and are willing to provide feedback, testimonials, and referrals. These early customers become the foundation of your business because they validate your concept, improve your offer, and attract more customers like themselves. I made the mistake of chasing quick sales instead of building relationships with my early customers. I was so focused on hitting revenue targets that I treated customers like transactions instead of treating them like partners in building something valuable. This short-sighted approach cost me long-term opportunities for growth because satisfied customers are your best marketing channel, but you have to invest in their success first. When I shifted my focus from making money to creating success stories, everything changed. I started over-delivering for my early customers, asking for feedback constantly, and implementing their suggestions immediately. These customers became raving fans who referred dozens of new customers, provided testimonials that converted prospects, and gave me insights that improved my products dramatically. Your first 10 customers are worth more than your first $10,000 because they teach you what your market actually wants versus what you think they want. They show you which features matter and which features are ignored. They reveal the language your market uses to describe their problems and your solutions. They provide the social proof that convinces future customers to buy from you. The 10th truth that will change how you think about competition. Your competitors are not your enemies. They're proof that your market exists. Most entrepreneurs are afraid of competition, but competition is actually validation that people are willing to pay for what you're offering. A market with no competition is usually a market with no demand. Competition means demand. Demand means opportunity. Instead of trying to avoid competition, study it, learn from it. Find gaps in what competitors are offering. Identify complaints about existing solutions. Look for underserved segments within competitive markets. Competition provides a roadmap of what's working and what's not working, which saves you time and money in market research. I used to be intimidated by successful entrepreneurs in my space, but now I see them as teachers. I study their marketing strategies, their pricing models, their content approaches, their customer service systems. I don't copy them directly, but I learn from their successes and failures. This competitive intelligence helps me make better decisions and avoid common mistakes. Competition also creates opportunities for collaboration. Some of my best business partnerships have come from relationships with people I initially saw as competitors. We've done joint ventures, cross-promotions, and referral partnerships that benefited both of our businesses. When you shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, you realize there's enough success to go around. Now here's something crucial that I need you to understand about timing and opportunity. You might be thinking that you've missed your chance, that the market is too saturated, that all the good opportunities have been taken. But that's not how business works. New opportunities are created constantly by changing technology, shifting demographics, evolving consumer preferences, and emerging problems that need solutions. The online business space looks completely different today than it did 5 years ago. Platforms that didn't exist are now billion-dollar companies. Problems that didn't exist have created entirely new industries. Skills that weren't valuable are now in high demand. The entrepreneurs who succeed are the ones who adapt quickly to these changes, instead of trying to recreate yesterday's opportunities. I see new entrepreneurs succeed every day by finding fresh angles on existing markets, serving underrepresented demographics, solving problems that established players ignore, or simply executing better than existing competition. Success isn't about finding a market that no one has discovered. It's about serving a market better than anyone else is currently serving it. Your unique combination of skills, experiences, perspectives, and circumstances creates opportunities that didn't exist before you arrived. No one else has your exact background. No one else has your precise viewpoint. No one else can deliver value in exactly the way you can deliver it. This uniqueness is your competitive advantage, but only if you leverage it instead of trying to hide it. The final truth that I want to leave you with: success in business is not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to figure things out as you go. Every successful entrepreneur I know started without knowing exactly how they were going to achieve their goals. They started with a direction, not a destination. They began with principles, not plans. They committed to learning, adapting, and improving along the way. This willingness to figure things out is more valuable than expertise, more important than experience, more powerful than perfection. It's what allows entrepreneurs to navigate uncertainty, overcome obstacles, and capitalize on opportunities that others miss. It's what separates people who take action from people who wait for guarantees that never come. I started my business knowing almost nothing about marketing, sales, product development, customer service, or business operations. I learned everything through trial and error, courses and coaching, mentorship, and mistakes. The learning never stops because the business world never stops changing. But that's what makes it exciting and rewarding for people who enjoy growth and challenge. If you've made it this far in this video, you're clearly serious about building something meaningful, and I want to help you take the next step. The biggest mistake most entrepreneurs make is consuming information without implementing it. They watch videos, read articles, take courses, but they never translate that knowledge into action. Knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. Here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one insight from this video that resonated with you and commit to implementing it within the next 7 days. Not next month. Not when you have more time. Not when you feel more ready. Within the next 7 days. Whether it's clarifying your message, creating your first offer, building a simple system, or reaching out to potential customers, take action while the motivation is fresh and the ideas are clear. Success leaves clues, but you have to be willing to follow them. You have to be willing to try things that might not work. You have to be willing to fail forward, learn fast, and iterate quickly. You have to be willing to start before you feel ready because readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. I want to hear about your progress, your challenges, and your breakthroughs. Leave a comment below telling me which insight hit you the hardest and what specific action you're going to take this week. Are you going to clarify your niche, create your first simple offer, build a basic system, reach out to potential customers? Whatever it is, commit to it publicly, because public commitment increases accountability and follow-through. If this video helped you see your situation differently, hit the like button to let me know. If you want more content like this that cuts through the noise and gives you practical strategies you can implement immediately, subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell. I create new videos every week with real strategies from real experience, not theory from someone who's never actually built a business. Your business breakthrough is closer than you think, but it requires you to stop consuming and start creating. Stop planning and start implementing. Stop waiting and start working. The market is waiting for what you have to offer, but only if you're brave enough to put it out there. The time is now. The opportunity is real. The only question is whether you're ready to seize it.